Devon lost the first round of his match with Levan in East versus West 12 on fouls. Levan was coming into a super match following a long hiatus after his wrist injury and was not sure about the integrity of his wrist in the beginning of round 1. It took a good 22 seconds to decide whether to top roll Devon's pronator or flop his own wrist to put Devon's hand down with a press. These 22 seconds were enough to create a commotion in the minds of the Larratt army. The commotion turned into hope, and hope turned into stories. Stories will soon develop into legends, and in time, the legends will become myth. In King of the Table 4, it took only 3 seconds for the commotion to start after the first round, and in little more than a year, that commotion turned into a myth. The myth of a torn bicep. The myth of an unfinished battle. The myth of a deprived hero and a privileged champion. The myth of a grand comeback and the myth of the famous pronation lift. This time as well, the first round has sparked a new controversy. The controversy of the King's Move. The very first video Devon uploaded after his loss was full of suggestions on how King's Move is good for the growth of the sport and why it should be free of any fouls whatsoever. Though Devon assured everyone that he is taking nothing away from Levan and his victory was fair and square.
Completely accept my defeat, and I do not think that I was screwed over by the refs.
His emphasis on the King's Move clearly suggests that somewhere in his ketamine-filled subconscious, he feels that he could have stopped Levan if the referees did not foul his declined humerus and his completely stretched out arm. Hope is a dangerous deceiver.
That I am going to beat you very badly.
It's a double-edged sword. It can inspire someone to pursue a dream irrespective of the failures and letdowns, but it can also make you believe in something beyond your grasp. The first thing a man blinded with faith and hope abandon is reason. Devon in his video has proposed 2 things that are way more absurd than his behavior before and after a fight. First thing Devon proposed is eliminating the fouls from King's Move. Though he tried to establish that referees giving him foul in the first round has got nothing to do with his loss in the match, him making a video specifically regarding that tells a different tale altogether. Users of the King's Move have developed a peculiar kind of elasticity in their elbow joint, which helps them to stretch their arm fully while hanging their whole body weight on the far end of it. Imagine pushing down an iron rod from one side with 100 kgs of weight hanging on the other side. It is almost impossible to push it down with just one hand. That's why the rule of not taking the humerus down under the table is there. And no, Devon, removing this rule is not going to make this sport any better than it is already. A soldier, after losing all his weapons in a fight, resort to throwing pebbles and mud on his enemy is what a King's Mover looks like. The only thing it adds to the sport is ugliness, and as much as it is a part of arm wrestling, it must be contained within the rule system that doesn't allow its users to cross any boundaries. The second thing Devon proposed was waiving off the safety.
It would be my proposal that the sport of arm wrestling is more beautiful when competitors are allowed to waive their safety. Waive your safety.
It is completely understandable that the loss makes him wanting to kill himself, but imposing the same onto other athletes is absurd and insane. Safety is the primary concern in any combat sport, and no, it doesn't take away the glory and charm of the sport in any which way. As a fan, what would you like to see? A limp Devon in a sling, not able to use his arm ever for arm wrestling just because he wanted to achieve something out of his league? Or a healthy Devon contesting in his weight category with all his limbs intact? Before even thinking of proposing something like waving the safety off, Devin must think about his family and all the other family members of so many athletes. If he wants to climb his Everest without extra oxygen, he can do it in some dungeon without any rule system or refereeing. But if he wants to claim this victory with all its glory in front of thousands of arm wrestling fans, he must do it within the rule system proposed by the authorities, because that's what a sport is all about. If you like my content and love arm wrestling, then like, share and subscribe. Keep healthy, keep hustling. This is Nitin Vats signing off.